Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Boothy'S Beer and Banter, sponsored by Magic Rock. First, can I thank you all for joining me tonight, which we really appreciate, and also there's quite a new faces on the call, which we really appreciate. So that's good to see those new faces. Just to let you know, if you want to ask a question, just write it in the chat, and I'll ask the question for you. I will try and get through as many questions as I can tonight. I do apologise if I miss your question out, but hopefully I'll get to ask as many questions. I know I say it every week, but it's laid back. It's a bit of fun, so you can ask as many questions as you want, or you can just sit and listen to us guests. And talking to guests, I'm sure these lads need no introduction. And I'm positive that you'd all love to be down at the John Smith Stadium, supporting them, being able to see them every other week down there. So we've got Chris Schindler, Duane Holmes, and Harry Toffolo. Evening, lads.
Oh,
you okay?
Someone muted me.
All right, sorted. That's it. So, lads, firstly, can I thank you for joining us tonight? And I know it's your wife's birthday today, so I really appreciate you giving a time up. So, we thank you on behalf of everybody on the call. Really appreciate it.
Doing him a favour there.
And wish you happy.
Very clever. Very, very clever.
Thank you, Duane. I can see that you've seen me use that now, so
that's the difference, Toffs.
That is the difference, you see. Anything to get out of the way, eh? Anything to get out of the way.
Great shout. And Chris, I know you've had a haircut for it. I know you said you'd booked a haircut, so you've had to quickly manage it, and you look perfect as usual. So again,
thank you. I didn't have one actually. I haven't had one. So.
Oh, haven't you? Oh.
Yeah, I rescheduled it only for you guys.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I don't have that problem, so I'm all right. But I'm sure most of these people on this will know exactly what it's like waiting for the haircut.
Where did you do your haircut?
Start with you. Obviously. How's the injury going? And have you got an update for us? And we all saw the match when you got injured, but what exactly were the injury and how's it going now?
Well, thanks. It's going all right actually. Before Christmas, I had a partial tear on my ACL, and the rehab of it went really well, and I cut some time actually, so I was very confident of being back with the boys on the pitch quite soon. Unfortunately, when I returned back to team training, I had to tear my lateral meniscus as well, which needed addressing. So I had to do a surgery, and I went to Germany to do the surgery. It was like not a big thing, it was that easy, but unfortunately, this is keeping me away from the pitch for longer. And at the moment, I'm just working my way back into team training, and I hope that I can go back on the pitch soon and start running, which would be some kind of checkpoint and milestone to being back on the pitch. But as it's the first surgery in my career, it's a new experience for me, and I need to be patient, and it's not easy, but I'm getting there.
Yeah. And obviously ACL, I didn't realise you were ACL. That's probably one of the worst knee injuries you can get. So you can't rush it. Just you've got to listen to the physios and obviously get back.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was only partial rupture, so I didn't need any surgery, fortunately. But I think the meniscus problem on top of it kind of makes it now a longer time that I'm away from the pitch.
Yeah. And Toff, what about you? Obviously, you played at Luton. You look fine. I'm not going to mention the sending off because I thought that were a little bit harsh. And we've not seen you since. What's happened?
Yeah, it was suspension. It actually turned out to be 14 game suspension. So
well deserved.
Yeah. It was actually something that I'd been nursing for a couple of weeks with my back, and I never thought it'd be what it was. And I think on the off chances, the medical department, we got a scan once I've been suspended, because there has been a bit of pain in the area, and we actually found out it was a stress response in the L5, so it's part of the spine. So we've shut my body down and we've got it to the point where it's starting to really heal. I'm not sure when this will be aired or released, but as of Wednesday today, hopefully I've only got one more session with the fitness coach, and I should be back to full team training. So it's been longer than as anticipated, but with the back, you can't take any risks. And I've been able to spend a fantastic 8 weeks with the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Schindler. So it's been an incredible journey. But no, it's good. It's good to be back, and hopefully I can now help the lads out. We've got 5 games to go now, and we've got other players coming back from injury as well, which is important, and just like a bit of fresh enthusiasm into the group, which I think is vitally important at this point of the season.
That's great news to you. You're coming back, Harry, and I say a couple of other lads. It's what we need at the important running. And Duane, probably everybody likes to say welcome back. It's great to see you. And obviously, what's it been like the second time now? How has the club changed since you were last here? And was it a big decision when you realised the club were interested in bringing you back?
Yeah, obviously it's changed a lot since I was there the first time. Definitely for the better. And regards to big decision, no, not really. It was quite an easy decision coming back home and a place where I feel like I had unfinished business. So for me, it wasn't a difficult decision to come back now.
And has the club changed? How has the club changed, Duane? Because obviously we we've not been in the Premier League when you were there.
Yeah, it's the training ground's got a lot better. The attention to detail's got a lot better. We've got the nutritionists and things like that, and it's something that I've not seen as done as professionally. So it's obviously good steps in the right direction for the club.
Brilliant. And I should have mentioned, everybody, Duane's out fishing tonight. So you might wonder where he is, so if you catch a fish, Duane, just let us know. We'll mute you, and you'll get on with your fishing.
Beautiful stuff.
So, lads,
what's up, Shins?
He explains his clothes when he's coming in training ground.
Hey, listen, it's not a fashion show. I'm there to work.
Yeah, fair point.
And before we get to the chats, then, lads, of us on the call tonight, and obviously all the fans have met Carlos. Can you give us a little bit of what it's like in training, his routine on match days? And I hear every match day you go to a hotel before his preparation is second to none. How are you starting me? What is Carlos like?
Is that over to me, was it? Sorry.
Sorry, Harry. Yes.
No. He's very, very in depth. He's very thorough of what he wants to do. The minute he came in, you knew he had a presence in the room, and he put his stamp on things very quickly. And we were quickly introduced into the murderable sessions. And I think the start of the season, the way we started and how fast we started accumulating as many points as we did first half of the season showed that the ability and everything that the group had and in the right direction. So everything that he's done, he's put a stamp on everything that he's done. And you've got the fitness coaches who work really close with him, who want to push us with the GPS values. You've, like Duane said, you've got the nutritionist who's doing his part. So I think he uses a lot of people to manipulate training sessions and match days to hopefully try and put us in the best possible position. And obviously I've been out for 10 games, 11 games, I'm not sure. So probably Duane at the minute is probably better off speaking in the current situation. But I remember sort of when I was back in it, he's very thorough and a joy to work with, to be honest.
And Duane, I'll just skip to one of the questions now from Dano. So what Tosh was saying, well, obviously you've played a lot of games in a short space of time. And Dano said, what's the recovery process like after a game? Being obviously with the current time, obviously short spaces between matches. What's it been like to recover? How do you recover between only having a couple of days?
Yeah, that's the difficult thing. We're not really getting a chance to train. It's obviously game, and in between you're just doing your best to eat well, sleep well, use the physios, use the recovery baths, use the recovery boots, all that sort of stuff. And and we do have a schedule that we stick to after a game. The next day you come in, hot and cold bath, massage, bike, foam rolls, stretch, bit of strength work, and then obviously it's after that, it's the next day you're into training, preparing for the next game. But it is really intense at the minute, but that's just the times we find ourselves in, I guess.
Yeah, and Chris, what's it like playing in front of an empty John Smith Stadium? We'd all love to be there, but it must be difficult for the players and the manager when there's no fans there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's I think something in the past which kind of gave us this extra boost we needed to kind of being able to face the challenges we had, and this gave us this extra advantage, especially when I think about the first season in the championship where we got promoted. We were really able to make our home stadium to a fortress, and I think at the moment, like, it's not our problem exclusively, but I think it's just a little bit watching a game, and it's almost like a friendly match, and it's not really any emotion, and this is something which is really difficult from a player's perspective. I think you need to stay really honest during the game, where sometimes maybe in a normal game and the supporters, like the cheering or the shouting, will keep you honest. I think it's a lot self-directed now. On the other hand, I think you can hear way more communication on the pitch, which is good. But all in all, I don't like it. All the things that football is about, like emotion and atmosphere, is missing. And it's really tough. It's tough for everyone. And I hope that this will get better soon. That we at least can open up a part of the stadium and welcome you back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and hopefully we'll all be back in the stadium pretty soon. There's a question for Stuart to Duane. Obviously, we need more goals like the one against Swansea. We're obviously struggling at the minute to create good opportunities. What needs to change?
I don't think we're struggling to create chances. I think we've just got to be more confident in the final third to try things. Obviously, it's tough when you find yourself in the position that we find ourselves in, but games like yesterday prove that we can give anyone a game. Obviously, we went in 2-0 down, and I suppose it gets a little bit easier coming out in the second half, knowing that you've got nothing to lose. But I think we create chances, and we just need to be a bit more positive and more ruthless in both boxes, and it'll all come together all right.
Yeah, I agree to it. And what's going back to that Swansea game? Obviously, you scored 2 goals, and what a goal that second one was. And what's it like? You've scored a fantastic goal, but there's nobody there to celebrate with. It can't be the same.
No, like Shindy says, it's sort of, I think the fans drive it, drive the standards in games sometimes, and you can find yourself getting away with things that you wouldn't normally get away with if there were 20,000 people there. And like Shindy says, it takes away the atmosphere. You feel the passion from the fans and stuff like that, and it gets you through games at times. It really does. So not having anyone in the stadium's it was a little bit off-putting at first, but I think now we're sort of getting used to it. But definitely when it first happened, it was sort of like the games didn't feel like a game, if you know what I mean. Like I don't know if it felt the same for you lads, but like for me, going out on a Saturday in an empty stadium, it just didn't feel like we was playing a game. And like I say, now we're a bit more used to it, but it's still a lot more enjoyable when there's people there cheering you on or whatever, you know.
Brilliant, Duane. And Harry, before, there's quite a few in the chat wanting to talk about your penalty, Chris, which obviously we'll get to in a little bit. But Harry, last year, obviously your first year, you came with Danny and Nicky. How big a factor were them bringing you to the club? Because I'm sure that you must have had quite a few options where you could go on other places.
Yeah, I think it was massive. To have them here was good. Regardless whether Danny and Nicky were here, and the proposition of coming to Huddersfield Town and playing in a championship was something I could never turn down. So I think with having Danny and Nicky as the managers and the assistant at the time was definitely a perk of mine, and it sort of enticed me in, but the football club in general, they sold it to me, and I've been here a year, nearly 18 months now. So I've enjoyed my time here, and what we achieved last season, more so the lads at the first half of the season, what they did after 10 games, bringing it back. But then the reinforcement sort of came in January time, when the January signings came in, and we added to the group, and being able to, like, Duane scoring Derby away for me was a special moment last season.
I'm breaking my leg.
Yeah, sorry, Duane.
Go on, mate. Cheers.
Well, come on, wait on. Tell us about that then. Wait, I know you got injured, Duane, that game, didn't you? Tell us.
Basically, Toffs forgot how to tackle, went completely over the ball and broke my leg.
This is a lie. Okay, so
sounds like Toffs to me, though.
Excuse me. What did you say, Chris? Duane actually said in the physio room. Go on, be honest. What did you say? Yesterday, I think it was, or 2 days ago. You said that I stupidly put my foot in there and it was too late anyway. So you need to take responsibility for what happened.
I think you're right, Toffs. Yeah, Toffs. Basically, there was a 50-50. Toffs was just a little bit quicker than me, and my eagerness got the better of me, and I just went into a tackle I shouldn't have done and came out, obviously.
But I never knew. I never would have even thought that something as bad as that could have happened. It was so, like, innocuous. It was incredible. Like, it was mental.
Yeah, I know, because I just thought I had a dead leg, and then obviously 2 days later I couldn't put any weight on it, and I was like, I'm gonna have to get an X-ray here. And yeah, I just remember texting Toff saying, "Yeah, broke my leg. Cheers."
You ruined my weekend, mate. You ruined my weekend. Go and score a goal like that, and you've ruined it. No, I'm just glad he's on the mend. And we played each other at Scunthorpe as well, so we had a good rapport from there. And then playing against each other, that happened. I'm glad that I can sort of play with him now. I can make it up to him in a certain way, but playing in the same team, so.
I was there at Derby. I can remember you walked off, didn't you, Duane? You hobbled off, didn't you? You carried on a little bit, but I realised that. So at least you're both back and you're good friends again now. But Tom,
yeah, exactly.
Just going back to Danny and Nicky, how shocked were you when you heard they'd been released from the club? It was a shock to everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely a shock, but it's one of those you have to totally respect what the vision of the football club, and as a player and as a stakeholder of the football club, I've got to respect the management side, and we've went down a different route, the football club, and Danny and Nicky are now having the success they're having at Portsmouth, and fair play, they're great managers, and I'm sure that they'll go on from strength to strength. But we're now in a situation where I'm a Huddersfield Town player, so regardless of any ties of anybody, I'm a Huddersfield Town player, and been able to work with Carlos at the first half of the season until I got injured in January, late January time, Feb. I've enjoyed probably some of my favourite and best football, and I've learnt new things from a new style of play, and something that you can't ever take for granted. So I'm truly grateful for the opportunity, because it picked me up when I was in League Two. So they picked me up in League Two. Not like you probably think at that point you'd have a load of offers on the table, but it was a very strange summer that summer, and it's one that I had to take a punt. And I'm glad that I had a phone call with Danny and Nicky in his house in Essex, and I was up in Hertfordshire at the time, and we had a really good, productive phone call, and the rest is history. And now we ended up at Huddersfield together, playing across 3 divisions. So no, I'm very grateful to them.
Brilliant. And Chris, I've got to come to you that we're in the chat. There's a lot about it, and firstly, obviously David Wagner brought you to the club. What were your first thoughts when you heard that Huddersfield Town, a club in England, wanted to sign you? Had you ever heard of Huddersfield Town before the phone call?
No, that's the thing. Like, I didn't even know that it's England. I wasn't sure. Like, maybe it's America, some league there. Obviously, English background, Australia. I don't know, but yeah, I looked into it, and I had no idea, and also had no idea about the championship itself and how tough it is. And I think this was, especially in the first year, the kind of the bonus, because you just came into a completely new world and kind of just did it. You just played, and after the season, obviously you felt it. But at that time I had no idea where it was, what it was, and then I came over to meet David here for the first time, and he kind of told me about his vision and the Wagner Revolution and whatnot. And to be honest, I came here and I thought like, wow, this is like pretty basic compared to from where I came. But sometimes in life you make decisions and they turn out to be probably one of the best in your life. And like this here was a complete game changer for me and also for my family. I think we had a great time here and are still having a great time. And as I said, sometimes you don't even think about it too much, and it's just happening. And as I said, I don't regret that I made this step.
Brilliant. And going all the way back, how important? And we had Chris Lever and Hef on the call a couple of weeks ago, and the trip to Sweden. How important was that? Obviously, there were 13 new signings that season, and David took you to Sweden for you to fend for yourselves. What were it like for you? I'm sure it must have been uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was brilliant because I had my medical when they were in Sweden, so I didn't have to do it.
Didn't you go?
No, I wasn't on that trip. So I came back from the medical, obviously everything new. Went into the dressing room and everybody was talking about it, and it must have been really tough. But I guess this made the players become a unit because you have there's no other way than to kind of work together under the circumstances. And I really like the idea of it because, as you say, if you have a lot of new signings from a lot of different backgrounds as well, different nationalities, I think. When it comes to those basic things, you have to find a way to make it work, and might have been like more symbolic, but at the end of the day, if I'd never thought when I came in. In fact, I remember me saying to David that it's a risk bringing in a lot of people from a different nationality, from the same different nationality, like German in that case, to a group of in a different country. And he would reply to me. He said, "Yeah, I know, and this was a risk I'm willing to take because I know that all the players I brought in are good characters, and I have to say how this group grew together. Obviously, with the help of the success during the season as well. It's just I didn't think this is possible, but I think you all would agree that in this year." If we wouldn't have been like a dressing room the way we were, everything just seemed to fit together, and getting that kind of situation out of the transfer window where we brought in how many 13 players is just exceptional. So I think it worked.
It definitely worked. No doubts about it worked. I think we'll all agree on the call it worked. And I've got to ask you about the penalty. We know at Wembley, we're obviously 0-0 through extra time as well. And whose decision was it for you to take the fifth penalty? Because obviously in the semi-final you didn't take a penalty.
No, I've never taken a penalty in professional football. So since that time, and we would train penalties before the playoffs. So we went to. We went also to Portugal then and kind of practiced and whatnot. And it's I think before Sheffield, we always made like a shootout at the end of the training. And I think I scored one, and then the next one I missed, and the next one I missed as well before the Sheffield game. So I thought, I mean, it's always you can't make the same competitive situation. You can't create that in training really. So I thought it doesn't really matter if you train it or not. For me, in the penalty shootout, it's really, really difficult to train. But after Sheffield Wednesday was a very tough game at their place. Like went the whole distance. I was absolutely knackered after the game. I was empty, and I didn't feel like I'd take one. And when the final came, and I thought I had like a decent game, and again, it's not. Sometimes you just feel a situation. I just thought, okay, like I take one, and then I went to David and I said, so he was talking to a lot of players or staff members already, like hectic, and I said like, David, I'm going to take one as well, and he said, what you? I said, I'm going to take one. He said, but only the fifth one is left. I said, well, no, I take the fifth one then. He said, are you sure? And I was like, I was sure since you asked me now. So, no, it was just a feeling I had, and as I said, I felt like this game was all right for me, and it's going to be. You can't plan to take one, I think, and and then the rest is history. I think when have missed, like that didn't bother me too much, because it was strange. I was in this situation. I thought the way the season went, I thought this is our time. This is meant to be, and when then I think the second player on the row missed Reading. The players next to me, I think was Lowy, he said like, you can make it now, Shindy, you can make it now. And this is the last words where I walked up to this penalty, and I thought like, I can make it now. And next thing I remember is when the ball hits the net. So this picture is in front of my inner eye when I think about this penalty, and everything else. If you can see in the celebration, I didn't really plan anything. And to be fair, I didn't realize how big it is at that time. At that moment in time, I didn't realize how big it is, and how big the Premier League is, and the media obviously afterwards were kind of giving me an idea, but it was just crazy. It's almost like when I talk about it as if I wasn't really there, as if I was overviewing it as well. So seems decades ago, to be fair.
But it's still that everybody can remember that day and never forget you scoring that penalty celebration. What a day! Looking at the chat now. Well, this isn't for you, Toss, but in the Broman Stakes, Toffs and Lewis is well documented. Do Chris and Duane have anyone special? Duane, who's your best friend at the club, like Toffs and Lewis, if you've got a friend?
Toffs and Shindy. What?
Sorry, Lewis.
Lewis will not be happy about that.
Nah. To be fair, he's trying to keep us apart. He's been trying to keep us apart.
He has.
Shindy, Lewis is on his way to your house right now after saying that. He's in the car right now.
Yeah.
He's here though. Hey, Duane, he's here.
Is he? Hello.
Come on, Duane. Who's your best mate then at the club?
It'd have to be Wardy, probably. Known him a long time, so obviously he was there when I was a young kid growing up. We spent many an evening in Leeds City Centre on a Tuesday night sometimes, so I'd say probably Wardy, yeah.
And Chris, who do you room with? Who's your roommate?
There's no one left. Boothy'S, no one left.
Have they all left you?
Yeah, a lot has changed since I come in. No, I think in the current squad it's like, I think the best lad I can make jokes with is Toffs. But yeah, as I said, like all my German fellas kind of left me, and
please don't tell me, Chris. Please don't tell me you used to room with Hef. Please tell me that he wasn't your roommate.
In all honesty, I can't say I had the pleasure once, but I think I was always with Joel Coleman, Bear, And I think at the end of the season it was Hefton for a couple of times, and like without going too much into detail, but it was like, nah, I can't.
Of course you can. Go. This is what. Won't say anything.
Nah, like the things. I think I'm like, I'm the kind of guy who gets along with everything. But if there was somebody walking over the corridors too loud, he would go to the reception, try to swap, get another room, and I felt so uncomfortable with it, because I just get along with it, and he's like, yeah, I always made sure that I went to sleep after he went to sleep. I just needed to make sure.
It's probably not a bad idea. I don't blame you there. You've got Piper and Vallejo, Spanish talking, and Chris, I know you mentioned it before, but how good are their lads English, and do they have to talk English in their training ground, or do they speak Spanish to each other? Duane?
They'll speak Spanish to each other, but they speak good English. Alex more than Pippa, although sometimes I'm not sure whether Pippa just doesn't want to talk to you, to be honest.
Oh, same with you.
Is it miserable? Is it, Pippa?
This is, to be fair, I never thought Shindy could speak English until now, because he never spoke to me. So I guess he just don't like me.
Maybe it's you. You're the problem.
Hey, there's a common theme. It could be me.
It is. Well, to be fair, Chris always speaks to me, and the very first day he always speaks to anybody. So I'm not saying anything, Duane. Making assumptions.
Hey, listen, you sometimes got to hold your hands up. I'll take responsibility.
Right then. Okay, then now let's dish a bit of dirt with the current squad. Then we can't see them, so we've not met a lot.
Go on then.
Who's the biggest joker in the changing rooms? Who's got the best banter? Come on, Duane.
For me, Campbell.
Fraser.
Yeah, Fraser.
Yeah. Fraser, brilliant.
Shindy's got a very dry sense of humour. I think I've grown to love it over the last 8 weeks. At the start, I thought, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, Germans can't be funny, but actually I have a sense of humour.
Yeah, I just fell off my chair.
Thought you caught a fish then. I thought you caught something there, Duane. Harry, who's
absolutely
the best trainer then?
The best trainer?
Yeah.
Toffolo.
Hoggy, the general.
Yeah.
Because if he's on it, everybody's on it, and he's on it every single day. He's relentless. And if you give one bad pass, he's not afraid to... Yeah, he's not afraid to let you know. I'm not going to say anything on it. It's probably like a bit too much. But yeah, he's not afraid to let anybody know. So, no, he's good. He's definitely there for raising standards and doing that. So I'd probably say Hoggy.
And the worst trainer, there must be one. There's always, and I've got to admit, I hold my hand up. I was the worst trainer of when I was there.
I'll go Lewis O'Brien.
Yeah.
He just never does, never runs, never moves. He's just lazy. Yeah,
ahead of himself a little bit, I think.
Yeah. I think that's it. He just needs to focus.
And Chris, who's the biggest moaner? There's always somebody in the dressing rooms. I think I would that as well. I think I'd have to hold my hand up for that. Who's the biggest moaner in the dressing rooms?
Tough one. I think Duane. You're moaning a lot, To be fair, we've got loads of meetings, and I'm at the moment, I'm not taking part, I'm not joining in, but like every time there's a meeting that's coming out, I can hear Duane moaning about what was spoken, or only the fact that there's a meeting. So
I think, in my defence, I think it's more of the fact that the timings of the meetings is what gets to me.
See, it's the timings now.
It's the time. Yeah, it's the timings.
Always someone else's fault.
Oh, here we go.
Imagine Duane and Wardy together. This is a nightmare. They're the two biggest moaners at the football club. Two of them together.
But to be fair, I knew Duane when he was as an apprentice and a first year, second year pro. And he was in Mourne then. He wouldn't do anything to help. I'm surprised we got him on the call tonight. He's obviously changed, but we've asked him when he was first year pro, he wanted to come on. Like, so I can understand where you've got that from as the biggest mourner.
Yes. This is not possible for me. No. This is no.
Moving on quickly then, let's go back to the chats. The Wembley penalty must be number one, obviously, in your highlights at Huddersfield. But what's your second best Town moment?
I'd either go for the first Premier League match. I think Palace was, in total, like the occasion, Palace was brilliant. I think from an emotional perspective that you play your first career Premier League match, and then the way the game went, and the weather was nice, and I remember walking off the pitch and their supporters standing up to us and applauding us, which was a very nice moment. And the other one I think was last year, securing
West Brom,
avoiding the relegation. The game against West Brom was up there as well, because it's, for me, it's equally important, because it was a very, very tough period, a very, very tough time. And I mean, it's for the supporters, but I can tell you it's for the players as well. And I'm very glad that we made it. That it's a big achievement, and believe me or not, but it's a big achievement. And
definitely, yeah,
it's up there.
Definitely. And going back to that Palace game, how important was it, that first Premier League game we played, Palace, Newcastle and Southampton, we'd got 7 points out of 9. To have that start, it must have been a great help for you.
Well, that was kind of the way we could survive, really, because in both seasons, when we went up and when we stayed up the next year in the Premier League, we had a very fast start. I think this is key, because David came in first. We have a completely new idea. We have completely new players. How does it work on the pitch? Like, you do pre-season, you feel good in the games. How does it work on the pitch? It works. You get success. You believe everything. It's easier. You get into a flow. And it was the same. Like, the next challenge was Premier League. So how does our idea work? We are more confident in our idea now, but how does it work against better opponents? And it worked really well, especially at the start. And I think was it 4-0 against Tottenham? This was then the home game. I think we had a decent game, and this is the first time where we felt, okay, Premier League is different. Like, even when you make a decent game, you sometimes they're so ruthless that you lose, and lose big. But it was just vital for us to get the feeling from the first game on that we are competitive and that we have our chance in the majority of the games. I exclude the top 6, or let's say maybe top 4, top 5. But in all the other games, you always felt like, we can get, or we have our chances. If we play our game, we can get points.
Yeah, definitely. And Duane, a question for you. Duane used to have lockdown hair years before the first lockdown. Have any of you gained good positive habits because of the last year? Have you changed anything in the down to the last year? Starting with you, Duane, and then going on to you, Harry.
I taught myself how to play guitar. I mean, I thought when lockdown first started, I was going to lose my mind. I like to be outside, as you can tell. So I needed a way to keep myself busy, and obviously I taught myself to play guitar and tried to stick to a routine. I got into the habit of writing my routine down and planning my days, obviously when we were locked inside for 3 months. So I'd say I got into the habit of being comfortable just being by myself, as opposed to always wanting to be out doing things.
And you, Harry?
I make the most fantastic banana bread you could honestly think of. We've been making it every day for the last year, and Mary Berry, eat your heart out. Honestly, it's frightening. We've tried everything. We've added all sorts to it. The boys love it. And so around Easter time, we'll get all the cream eggs out and get all them on the go. Obviously, the nutritionist, if you're watching, I didn't say that. But no, just we like to have a good bake off in our house. With the boys like making the cupcakes and stuff like that. So we like to, it's something that we did a lot during that, because I think it was something that is very rare as footballers. I think we're very fortunate. We get a 6-week, 5-week period where we are off in one go. We are very fortunate in that sense. A lot of people have to take 2 days here and there or a week at a time. So I think for the first time ever in my career, I'm sure Chris will say the same. He's more experienced, not older, more experienced than me. No worries. He has probably never had the opportunity to spend so much time with his kids and his family. And it's something that I will never take for granted ever again, spending that time, because it was so special. Just something so simple, going on a walk and just looking at the trees and just looking for the birds is something that seems so normal now, but it's something that we love doing as a family. And it's something that I'm sure it's brought us as a family closer together, me, my boys, and my partner at the time. And obviously now we've got a daughter come into the mix. It's pretty carnage. So it's good. I've loved every single minute.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Obviously, you both love to be on the pitch, but how difficult is it for you both watching at the minute? Obviously, it's not going great on the pitch, and I know you're coming back hopefully next week, Harry, if everything goes well. It must be frustrating for you both to be sat out at the minute.
Well, it's very difficult, at least to kind of give any advice, because we know how tough it is and how easy it is when you're not playing. It's very easy when you're having a different angle on the game. When you're not in the hotel, you just literally show up to the games, look at the game, and think, why is he not playing this? Why is he not doing that? But I have to say, I watched all of the games I watched on the television, and the last game was the first one that I was at the stadium and watching it. It's different already. You feel way more nervous only being around this kind of environment. So it's difficult because you see things different when you're not playing. But you can only say so much, because you know that it's not always that easy to be in the trenches, to be on the pitch with all the emotion, with all the pressure as well, especially. It's very difficult. The only thing I kind of said to the lads is that no matter how difficult it is now, we need to keep to our way of playing, because if we don't, what we did, especially in the first half of the season, I think everybody was scared that we kind of are back in the relegation battle from the first day on, because we had so many changes. The whole squad is different. A lot of new manager. You don't know what to expect. A lot of young players without experience yet, so you didn't really know what to expect. And I think we did it brilliantly, and in all the especially with the ball, I think you could see a real development. And the only thing I said, to come back to that, is listen, stick to what you train, to what we are doing, even though it might feel so difficult. I think it's just the only chance we've got, because from the individual quality, I think there are better teams, to be that honest. But I think if we develop our style and the things we develop, if we bring them on the pitch, we can beat any team. So especially when we had the Wickham game, at home, it was like a very tough one, like very tough defeat, and this is where we got involved a little bit, and was just trying to tell them that to kind of stick to their identity and don't panic. But as I said, it's easier said than done. And for me, in my current situation. I think it's very difficult to really try to give input that actually helps.
Yeah, and I didn't realise what Chris said then, Harry, that obviously Chris is like club captain, you're senior pro, and you're not allowed to go to the games either. Have you just had to watch them on iFollow?
Yeah, we've only really been able to go to the games recently, obviously due to COVID. We've had to be stringent rules and around the place, and we have to respect that if everyone else was respecting rules in the general public, then regardless whether we're professional football or not, we have to respect the rules as well, because there are risks in anything you do. And with certain things been lifted recently, it's been able for us to go and watch the boys play. We've got the luxury of iFollow. We're probably a year, 2 years ago, we wouldn't have had that luxury of being able to watch the lads like we have. And like Chris said, it is very easy for us to sit. And I think when I've played game, you just get caught up in this. Like Dwayne's in the position now where he's playing games. It feels completely relentless, but your body becomes conditioned to that. And the minute you stop and have a moment to come away from it, you seem to watch the games and going, oh, look, there's more space. For example, in my position, oh, there's more space there at the left. Oh, why is he getting? And you see different things, which I will try use to help me when I'm back and with the lads. Because I think, like Chris said, we can't really do much now because we are doing nothing. The minute we can start contributing is when we're back in a training pitch. Duane can start seeing our faces playing and training with him, and it gives the lads sort of a lift. But we've been watching, we've been seeing stuff, and it is very easy for us. We've said it probably a couple of times. It's very, very easy for us to sit here and go, "Oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that." But the pressures and everything like that, we also totally understand the other side of it, and we've been in that position before. And so it's about supporting the lads whilst we're off it and working as hard as we can to get back on the pitch for them.
Brilliant. Cheers, thank you. So I had a question here for you and to Duane. What was Wayne Rooney like to play with and obviously as a manager?
Oh.
Nah, to play with obviously was incredible. Grew up watching Wayne. One of England's best ever footballers. His quality was evident from the first day he came in. He weren't very nimble, but never gave the ball away, never made the wrong decision, wanted to win in everything. And then obviously he made the transition into being a manager. And to be fair to him, he went into a difficult situation, club up for sale. The club was up for sale. The team weren't playing very well. And I think the writing was on the wall for Koku for a while. So I think it was something that Wayne knew was coming. And when he took over, he tried to change the mentality around the place and get everyone on the same page and pulling in the same direction. And obviously he started well, but they're struggling a little bit now. But like I say, he went into a difficult job, so it'd be a bit unfair for me to talk about him as a manager because I don't think I had enough time with him.
That's fair enough, Duane. And this is a question. This is for me. This is a question I want to ask you about 7 years ago. Obviously, you came into the team and you did well. You were absolutely flying. The fans loved you. You were coming off the bench and you started a few games, and you were just going from strength to strength. And then all of a sudden, you went on loan to Yeovil. Whose decision was that? Because for me, that seemed a crazy decision at the time. And for me, it put you back a good 2 years in your career.
Yeah, Shindy spoke earlier about like decisions that you make, and sometimes it can be the best decision. And unfortunately for me, it went the other way. Matt Robbins wanted me to play more regularly. Obviously, I was coming off the bench a lot, but he wanted me to go and get more minutes, and Yeovil was a chance to go and play in the Championship still. So as a young kid, you're sort of just eager to play and want to impress and all that. But I think now with the experience that I've got, I think I'd have probably said no and wanted to stay and fight for my place. But I went there. The manager was, I'll be honest, I just didn't like him. We didn't get along. Not many people got along with him. It was strange. And then, like you say, yeah, it sort of set me back a little bit. But that's on me. I'm the player. I'm the one who's got to come back and earn the shirt, and I didn't do that. And obviously, I had to go away and work really hard to get back.
Brilliant. Cheers, Duane. And to Chris, this could be a difficult question. This, who has been your favourite centre-back partner during your time at Town?
It is a difficult one.
There's so many.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Hef. I think we had a special relationship as centre halves. But I think coming into foreign country, not knowing really how the style is, and new style, new manager, and a lot of new players. I think Huddy made it really easy for me to get my first steps into English football. I think he's been absolutely brilliant, not only on the pitch but especially off the pitch. I think he was like a top character, and also one of the reasons, together I think with Dean Whitehead, listening to him on the side, or listening to him on Toffolo, sometimes it's just amazing. There were big reasons, I think, why we could grow together as a team the way we did, and also on the pitch. I think I enjoyed playing with him because we were so different as well, and we still had very good run of games. I think we won a lot of games when together, and as I said, not saying him only because of on the pitch, but especially off the pitch, he was like one of the best characters in the dressing room I've had the honor to play with.
Brilliant. And Toff, who was your football hero growing up?
Footballing hero growing up. I grew up a massive Chelsea fan, season ticket holders growing up as kids. My brother's still got a season ticket holder now, so we'd always go to watch Chelsea. So we're talking Zola. We start with probably Zola, and then Lampard was a massive one for me. Was a player that he's a legend, like Chelsea legend, and it's quite sad really. But I used to go and watch Ashley Cole all the time, and I used to literally just sit and watch. My dad would have these season tickets, three of them, me, my dad and my brother used to go. I used to sit and watch Ashley Cole the whole time and just watch what he did as a left back. And my dad used to be like, no, watch the game. I would be looking, the ball's on the other side of the goal, and I'd be looking, thinking, a bit sad really, but I used to be looking at his positioning. I'm like, where is he? And I used to watch him, and I always thought, because he was an attacking fullback and someone that I looked up to in that sense, I always thought, what's he doing? And I try and take we're different type of profiles in terms of our fullback stature and in terms of our physique. But you always got to learn from the best, and to be able to watch somebody live like that all the time was special for me. So I had to take advantage of it.
And I've just seen the time, Gary, you mentioned Chelsea, and this is again my question, because it's something in awe that you've done. And it was the biggest thing I always wanted to do, or I always wanted to progress further. You won the FA Youth Cup at Norwich against Chelsea, where when I was a junior, we had a good junior side, and we ended up playing Preston in the third round on the plastic pitch, lost 4-0, and that was us out. But for you to win it, and especially against Chelsea, you must have some players in that team.
Yeah, well, it was a special team. But I think if you look at the past winners, it was Chelsea, Norwich, and then Chelsea again for the next 4 years. So it was pretty unique what we did. And I remember my dad saying, obviously, I was sorting out the tickets for the game. He said, this is the only time in my life I will ever sit in the away stand at Stamford Bridge, because obviously he was sat. I remember looking at going out on the pitch before and seeing the 3 seats that I was, as a 5-year-old kid with my dad, used to go and watch Chelsea play. Like, I saw the seats, and I sort of took a picture and sent it to my dad. And I think it was a special moment for my dad and my brother to share. They were all there that day. obviously at the time that the Lights players, we've got Carlton Morris, who's now doing extremely well at Barnsley. You've got the Murphy twins doing their thing. You've got the captain, Cam McGeehan, at the time. He's now out in Belgium. So there's other players that have shined and playing at other levels in the game, but it was just a special thing. It's probably like Chris would say about his team, that it's obviously a lot different than winning 46 games over a championship and getting promoted for the thing, but you had a feeling we were going to win, and it was just like a snowball effect. The more games we played, we thought we're going to win this game. We're going to win this game. And then to be able to do the double over Chelsea in the final is something that, yeah, it's insane. When you look back at it, it's pretty incredible.
That's a massive achievement. It is for any team to do that. For you to beat Chelsea as well, that's unbelievable. Looking at the time, lads, it's past 8. It's been an hour. It's absolutely flown again. And I just want to say we've had a load of questions on the chat for Chris about wanting to stay next year. Will you play again this season, Chris? I don't want to ask you that because it's not fair to put you on the spot. But I just want to. I saw this while I was doing my bit of research. What Danny Cowley said. Danny Cowley summed this up perfect last year. I don't think Shins owes Huddersfield Town anything else, but I know what the club means to him. And sometimes he takes a lot of responsibility on his shoulders because he is so desperate for the club to do well. And I just thought that absolutely summed you up, Chris, as a player, as a person. And the fans have absolutely loved watching you, and we'd love to see you back this season. But I just didn't think it was fair to ask you. So we've had a load of questions on the chat, wanting to see you next year, wishing you all the best to get back in your fitness. So, but I just want everybody to realise why I've not asked them questions. But Harry, Duane, Chris, can I thank you for giving your time up today? You've been absolutely brilliant. The messages they're all absolutely loved it. They've all thanked you really much for giving your time up. Duane, your last question was: have you caught any fish?
Absolutely not. Hey, can't ask for much more though, can you?
Where's your rod? I can't even see your rod. Are you sure you're doing?
Don't tell him that. He'll give you.
No. Hey, Toffs, listen, it's a family show, this.
Right. On that, I think we will stop. But just to let everybody know, don't forget the Rock Brewery social media competition that will be out on social media in the next few days. Again, your discount. All you have to do is type in Boothy'S and you get a 10% discount with any order. Next week's guests are Ben Thornley, Kev Gray and Tommy Cowan. And that'll be next Thursday, the 22nd of April. But once again, thank you for joining us. Amit and Chris, just like to wish you all the best for the rest of the season. And will you take it back to Carlos and all the lads? We've got, 5-6 games left, important 6 games, and we're all behind you. And I'm sure you'll do it. So, Toff, all the best. Hopefully you'll get fit and we'll see you in the next couple of weeks. Duane, all the best for Saturday. And Chris, good. We want to see you back. Obviously, we want to see you back. And it'd be great to see you back this season. But thank you all again for joining us. Thank everybody for joining us, and I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.